Technics spent decades making turntables and studio gear for people who refuse to compromise on sound. Serious equipment, serious price tags. Now they put all of that engineering into a pair of wireless earbuds that fit in your pocket, and they're asking $299 for them. The audio community lost their minds. Some called it the best sounding earbud under $400. Others said it was overrated straight out of the box. And you know what? They're both kind of right. And here's why. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about who this earbud is actually competing against and why that context matters before anything else. So let's talk about that really quick here. So first things first, right? The AZ100. This is Technics' current flagship true wireless earbuds. They were released in January 2025. So this makes them, what, about 13 months since launch-ish. But that being said, they're still very, very relevant in 2026. And this is the follow-up earbud to the AZ80. So it's not a minor update. Nearly everything got improved. So, and again, as I mentioned before, price on these is $299, but they can be found as low as like $247, $250-ish right now. But the prices do vary. So it's something for you to keep in mind. Now, direct competition for the AZ100 are the Sony WF-1000XM6. Same price, same buyer, same promises essentially. So, and whenever we have two earbuds at the same price point and they go head to head, the details are what separate them. So we're going to cover all of that in this stream for sure. Now, before I go any further, one thing I did want to say, because I should have said it right at the beginning. So Technics, they were kind enough to send over this review sample. So I just want to give them a shout out on that, but there was no money exchange. This is not a sponsored video, nothing like that, because you guys know if it was sponsored, I would say that right up front and I would have it all in my disclosures in the video description, which it's not. So that being said, enough setup. So let's go ahead and check out the earbuds themselves. So let me go ahead and put this box down. Get the box out of the way real quick. So I've got them here in the blue color. So as you guys can see them right here, bam. So Technics AZ100. Now, right out of the box, these definitely feel different. The metal backing, distinct pattern, the way they feel in your hands, they feel more upscale than some of the previous versions. And again, 4 colors. You can get them in black, silver, champagne gold, or midnight blue. If you guys know me, people that know me know I'm a fan of the color blue. My car is blue. That's just how I roll. So that's what I decided to roll with when I had the opportunity. Now, these are about 10% smaller and 16% lighter than the AZ80, and that's something that you'll notice immediately. When it comes to their IP rating, so these are IPX4 on the earbuds only. There's no IP rating on the case itself. Now, IPX4 kind of low in my opinion. You'll get some protection against like sweat or rain. So for workouts or outdoor environment, I think you'll be okay. Don't take these swimming. Don't shower in them. Just giving you that, that heads up right away. Definitely don't do that. So the design overall, it's doing the job, but a good looking earbud that's uncomfortable after 45 minutes is worthless. So let's talk about how these actually feel when you get them into your ears. So let me go ahead and take these headphones off real quick. Let's do that. Get that out of the way real quick. Let me put these here. Now, I'm going to show you what they look like when I actually put them into my ears. There we go. So here we are. So you can see now I have large ears, so for me they fit really, really well. But if you're somebody who has smaller ears, that it might give you some issues. So just kind of buyer beware on that. They're not huge by any means, but they're also not the smallest earbuds. So I just wanted to make that really, really clear right up front. So let me take these out really quick. Put my other headphones back on. But yeah, just wanted to show you what they actually look like when I'm actually, when they're actually in your ears. I had somebody before say, hey man, you didn't show them in your ears. Now you've seen them. Now you've seen them. All right. So basically, out of the box, they do come with 5 different ear tip sizes. Now, the tips that I have on here right now, these are the SpinFit Omni. So I went ahead and swapped them out for a set of SpinFit Omni. But the tips that come inside the box, they are color match tips, and they're actually pretty decent. They use clips as well, but you can still drop SpinFits on these. That's the cool part about it. They don't require clips in order for it to work. They do have an oval nozzle, so that tends to reduce the suction pressure. Less of that like plugged feeling after you've been wearing them for a long time. So the comfort overall is actually a little bit better than I had expected, at least for me personally. But again, the stock tips are decent, but I swapped them out for a set of SpinFit Omnis. For people that have been around the channel for a long time know that I rock with SpinFit a lot. So these are excellent. I swapped them out because for improved comfort and for improved seal. So that's really what I wanted to go with these. But I think a lot of the reviews that I read online about these is that a very similar verdict. Super comfortable. They're comfortable enough to forget that you're even wearing wearing them. So overall, high praise as far as comfort goes. Easy to sleep in as well, but again, that's going to be subjective depending on your ear size, your ear shape. So something for you to keep in mind as well. But these could be a good option for a sleep earbud, especially with the noise cancellation strength that these have. So if the AZ80 gave you any comfort issues, the AZ100 definitely not going to be a problem anymore. Now, just for a quick catch up here, for anybody who might just be joining us, we're doing a live review of the Technics AZ100. We've already covered design and comfort, which are solid across the board. Sound quality is coming up next, and that's where things are going to get interesting. So far, we've got a comfortable fit. We've got premium build, which is a solid start. Now, let's get into the part that Technics actually built their entire reputation around. And how do these actually sound, right? Let's jump straight into that. So let me move this over here really quick. So let me go ahead and drop these back in here. Now, when we start going into it, actually, you know what? Let's bring this up because I want to talk about like what they're doing here. So there we go, screen share, perfect. So that's what I was looking for. So when we go into here, now this is on Technics website. So what's going on here with the Technics is now we've got these 10mm magnetic fluid drivers, right? So this is something a little bit different, near zero mechanical friction, and the result is cleaner sound, accurate bass, lower distortion. So overall, much better from their previous models. So I wanted to kind of bring that up so you guys can see what that sort of looks like as well. Now, when it comes to the stock tuning, let me go back here. Now, when it comes to the stock tuning, like my honest thoughts around it, right? The bass is rich, it's deep, and it's satisfying. The sub bass is really, really good. So it's great for like electronic music, hip hop, EDM, house, like that kind of stuff. It's going to be great for that. For the mid range, you've got full, it's warm, it's got decent vocals in it as well, more on the neutral side. And then when it comes to the treble, it's smooth and it does have some decent extension into it. It's detailed without being harsh, in my personal opinion. But the real issue here, and this is why some people called it overrated, is that it comes across very clinical. It comes across very smooth and too like neutral for a lot of people's tastes. And I can see exactly why people thought that, right? And one of the things that I also noticed is like even like it can come across as a little veiled sometimes as well when you're listening to, say, like Metallica or Rage Against the Machine or even Carlos Santana, listening to guitars. Like it feels like it's a little bit veiled, like you're not getting the full experience there. So one of the things that I know that that's not a defect of these earbuds. It was an intentional choice. It's the way that Technics actually tuned these to sound, and that I think frustrated a lot of people. And for me, the thing that you can easily do with these is you can EQ them. So that's one of the things where you can actually change it up and change up how they sound. Let me take these out. So what I want to do here really quick, excuse me, is I want to bring up the Technics app here so we can go ahead and take a look. Whoop, where'd it go? There we are. Come on. Okay, connecting with the headphones. There we go. So now we got the Technics app. So what I wanted to do here was show you the EQ that I'm using, because basically what's in like where it comes from, like straight out of the box. So that's my EQ. So you guys can go ahead and check this out. If anybody wants to try that out for yourselves on your AZ100, go ahead and knock yourselves out. Ultimately, what I was trying to do was pull more of the vocals and the instruments forward, right? I wanted to give them more presence in the mix. Ultimately, that's what I was trying to do, and it worked. So not perfect, but definitely much better than what it comes with out of the box, because right, stock is going to be direct, where there's nothing applied to it. And then some of their presets in here, like the treble plus is kind of decent. Dynamic really ain't it, so I had to just kind of get in there and do it myself. But that's sort of where I was at with it. But yeah, so that's sort of where it is, at least as far as, you know, the EQ. So make sure you guys check that out. If anybody wants to try that, go ahead and knock yourselves out with it. But overall, I like it. Now, in direct like listening comparisons, these come out crispier and cleaner and more dynamic than a lot of the competition at this price. Soundstage is deep and detailed. It's not the widest out there. It's not like IEM level soundstage, but it's still decent overall. And the AZ100, they're going to reward listeners who take the time to set them up properly, right? That's ultimately what it really comes down to. Now, I got a quick question for you. Are you, as far as a listener goes, do you actually EQ your earbuds, or do you just kind of set it and forget it? Do you just out of the box put them in your ears and you just roll with it? Let me know. Drop a 1 if you're a set it and forget it in the chat. Drop a 2 if you actually like to EQ. And if you're watching this afterwards, let me know down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious, because it changes the entire recommendation, for these earbuds. So overall, though, when it comes to sound quality, it's strong, but with an asterisk. So it's a great sounding earbud that, is solid, but you do have to get in there and make some tweaks to it. So that's something you want to always keep in mind when it comes to these earbuds. So moving from there, let's talk about the connectivity and the multipoint. So when we talk about connection on the Technics AZ100, so you've got Bluetooth 5.3, we've got SBC, AAC, LDAC, and LC3 for LE audio as well. LDAC, you can run it at 96 kilohertz, 990 if you wish. The trade-off with running it at such a high level for LDAC is that you will get some connection issues if you move away from your phone. So normally I like to do it at like 600, where it's kind of the balance between connection and sound quality, but that's something you could do. But if you're just chilling at your desk or sitting on your couch, you could run it at max mode, just throwing that in there. Now, as far as multipoint, you do have 3 device multipoint on here. So that's something that nobody else is doing, at least as far as I've seen. Nobody else is doing a triple device multipoint at this time. So if you do run 3 devices, you can have this connected to your phone, to your laptop, and to your tablet if you wanted to roll that way. And you're not trapped into any kind of ecosystem. It's basically open source, I guess, in a way of saying it. Now the Sony XM6, you compare those to 2 devices. That's the multipoint they have. AirPods, that's Apple only. So that's the only way that their multipoint works. But with Technics, it's 3 and it's open platform. One thing to keep in mind, though, is if you're running 3, you're not going to run LDAC. But if you still want to run LDAC, you can actually have 2 devices on multipoint with LDAC still activated, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, but that's just, want to throw that in there. So if you're somebody who lives with like multiple devices in front of you at once, laptop, phone, tablet, or whatever it might be, then this could be a good, genuine, like differentiating factor for you. No one else, as far as I know, is doing 3 device multipoint at this time. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, again, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and take these out one more time, because the next thing is going to be the app on these earbuds. And the app, I think, considering that it's coming from Technics, I think they could do it a little bit better, in my opinion. This is just me keeping it real with them, because, they do watch, a lot of the companies do watch these videos. They do pay attention to some of that feedback, and hopefully this is something that could be improved over time. So this is the Technics Audio Connect. You get it's fully available both on iOS and Android. Right now I've got it on Android. Shout out to Nothing. I've got the Nothing 4A Pro right here that I'm running this on. So we've got all the different settings in here. First up, you've got the EQ, so you can go in there and mess with EQ. That's going to be the most important thing as well. Now we've also got settings, and there's so much stuff buried in here. It's crazy, and it's the settings is really cluttered because there's so much stuff. There's like small text, there's nested menus. It can be a pain to navigate sometimes. It almost feels like this was an afterthought. Like they threw so many features, but like things were kind of an afterthought here. So this is one of the things where you want to go in. Like there's a LE connection settings, Aracast connection mode, multi-point operation. You got your spatial audio in here as well, customizing the touch sensors. There's so much stuff in here. It's wild. So if you just want to live with it here, you're going to be perfectly fine just doing that. Now, ambient sound, this is where you have their slider for ambient sound. You can move things around with it like this. So check that out. So you can adjust it. Now, if you have this set up, anything past like 75%, you're going to get some white noise, and just being real with you about that. But that's where you have that slider right there. You have transparent mode and you have attention mode. So it'll focus on voices as well. So you have that option there. Then we have noise canceling mode. And this, you can either have adaptive or you could turn the adaptive off, and then you can just dial it up to whatever setting you want to dial it to. So you have those options, or you have off as well. Back in there, we have your EQ, voice focus, AI test. That's for the call quality and stuff. But like I said, overall, the app has all the tools. You just have to dig for everything. I'm not a fan of that. Like it should be, it almost feels like they just need to hire somebody who's a little bit better with the like UX of things, like to make sure that the user interface and the user experience is improved. So ultimately, because there's so much stuff in here, but you have to dig to find everything, and it could be much more intuitive, in my opinion. But yeah, that being said, we'll kind of move on from there. Now, let's talk about some of the other features that I think are truly important that we have to talk about. And that's going to be the active noise cancellation for the Technics AZ100. So we have the full adaptive digital hybrid ANC, and adjusts in real time with adaptive mode on to your environment and your ear shape. And it works surprisingly well. It creates a genuine like bubble of silence that you're inside of when you're wearing them. And it's the kind that makes you realize just how loud your like daily environment actually is, right? Whether it's a commute, your office, gym, your house, whatever it might be, it handles all of that. Now, the Technics AZ100, they easily compete with the likes of the Sony WF-1000XM6 in my testing. Doesn't quite beat it. I think the Sony XM6 beat it just ever so slightly, but it's not by a long shot. So the AZ100 are surprisingly strong at what they're doing. So for like commuting, office work, gym, the AZ100 are going to be more than enough. You know, but if you're somebody who's like on planes every week and ANC is your whole reason for buying a set of earbuds, I'm probably going to point you towards either the Sony XM6 or maybe the Bose QC Ultra 2s, you know, but for what it is, it's still quite strong and it'll still do the job that you need it to do. Now, when it comes to the transparency mode, transparency on these, when we're talking about below like from like 50 to 75%, it's more natural than what Sony XM6 are doing. So Technics passes low frequency sounds through. Sony sort of cuts them out. Again, as I mentioned before, you will get some slight white noise with the AZ100, especially if you're listening to that transparency at above 75%. So something to keep in mind there, but it is quite strong. So if you don't mind the white noise and you really need to listen in on something, you have the ability to do so. And then attention mode, it's good. It's a good concept. The execution is okay. Some voices still come in sounding slightly processed, but I think that's just kind of going to be what it is. But the ANC is doing its job for most people. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about here, and as we move forward, is going to be the battery life on these guys. So battery and with noise cancellation on the AAC codec, you're going to get easily 10 hours on the buds, 28 hours total with the case. With LDAC on, you're going to get around 7-ish hours with the buds, 18 hours total with the case. We do have fast charge on deck as well. So we have 15 minutes plugged in, gets you an additional 90 minutes if you do wear them all the way down. And as far as charging, we do have USB-C right here, and we also have wireless charging on deck. So we've got both there. So battery life overall is beating what we're getting from Sony, you know, which is I think around 8 to 9-ish hours. So it's definitely doing a better job. And this is the kind of earbud where if you forget to charge it, you know, you're going to be fine. Like you're going to be totally fine because you got plenty of battery on these guys. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention here is going to be the microphone quality. So you got 6 microphones, 3 per earbud. It's a MEMS array. So it's got a dedicated voice focus AI chip for background noise suppression on calls. And the call quality on these is a significant step up from the AZ80. Cleaner voice capture, better background rejection in noisy environments. Across the board, the call performance on the AZ100 consistently ranks at the top of its class. So that's one of the things where if you're interested in hearing how these sound, because I don't have a voice clip here for you, but if you check out my review of the Sony WF-1000XM6, you're going to see I actually included the AZ100 and the AirPods Pro 3 in there so you can see how they stack up. And I was genuinely impressed with how strong the call quality is on the Technics. Like that really did blow me away. So overall, really good. So battery, we got strong battery life. We got, you know, solid call quality. Before I give you my final take, I think there's a couple of things that we want to talk about here that could be potential deal breakers. Are going to be some constructive criticism, but these are some things that I want to make sure that we definitely bring up. Now, when it comes to the first thing would be the stock tuning. The stock tuning is genre specific. This has been mentioned by many other reviewers. I completely agree. For, you know, metal, classic rock, hard rock, you're going to need the EQ. If that's not something you're willing to do, then this earbud might not be the right option for you. The second deal breaker is going to be, you know, the actual case itself. The case is not bad. I know the hinge is a little bit flimsier than what we got with the AZ80. It's a minor gripe, but it's real. And on a $300 product, it could be something that you notice. I noticed some people were mentioning this. I noticed it myself, so I figured I'd bring it up. Now, deal breaker number 3, the 3-device multipoint that disables LDAC. Now, you still have multipoint with LDAC on 2 devices, but you can have LDAC and all 3 connected at the same time. Now, for me, that's not a deal breaker, but it's something that I wanted to bring up to you guys just to make sure that you were perfectly aware of that. And the 4th deal breaker here could be the app, because the app needs work, man. It's powerful. There's so much stuff, but the layout is messy. You have to like budget time to get it all set up properly, to figure out where all the menus are, to figure out where all the settings are. So that's something that I think Technics needs to fix, hopefully soon, because if these earbuds have been out for 13 months and people have been mentioning this for a while, hopefully at some point they'll actually listen and make that happen. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But those are the things that could make you regret this purchase. Now, here's who I would absolutely recommend this to. So purposely, I would say like, buy the AZ100 if sound quality is your top priority and you're willing to EQ. If you like that 3-device multipoint, if that matters to you, then nobody else at this price is offering that. If you want strong battery life and you want LDAC as well in the same package, they've got you covered. Or if you're upgrading from the AZ80, this is a genuine step forward in every category. Also, if you find it on sale, because I know right now when I checked earlier, they were going for like $250. That's a pretty decent deal. But I remember around Black Friday, they dropped to around like $220. So keep that in mind, but definitely I would say they're worth their full price, but if you can get them at a discount, get them at a freaking discount. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm going. Now, who should skip this? Who should skip the AZ100? If you mainly listen to metal or classic rock and you don't feel like fiddling with EQ and going through all that, these might not be the right choice for you. If you want the absolute best ANC and that's not negotiable, then you're probably going to have to go with Sony or Bose. If you want perfect sound out of the box with no setup, then you might want to go with a different option. Maybe Status Pro X might be a better choice for you. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Or if you have really small ears, then these might not be good for you. So I just wanted to throw all of that in there just in case. Now, most earbuds at $299, they win one thing and lose at another, right? They're good at one really specific thing, but the rest is just kind of, I don't know. The AZ100s, they don't have any massive like glaring weaknesses in my opinion. It has conditions. And if you meet those conditions, it's one of the best earbuds on the market in 2026. And I can confidently recommend them to you. That's El Jefe's stamp of approval on the AZ100. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, that's the Technics AZ100, no fluff, just the facts. Again, there's going to be links in the description if you're interested in checking these out. And if you are cross-shopping the AZ100 against the Sony XM6, then make sure you check out the video that I'll leave right up here on the screen for you so you guys can check that out for yourselves. But with that said, my name is Jefe, and I'm out. Peace.